School can be very hard for students who don't quite fit in. Today, we visit an alternative learning centre in Brisbane. It's like a school, but it's especially for students who are having problems at normal schools. It's very successful and the students seem to love it. Here's the Logan Learning Centre.
At this school, south of Brisbane, education is served a little differently.
Anyone for any ties? Peter.
A typical day starts with breakfast and a morning meeting with the principal.
Yeah, who'd like to run the meeting?
Any business?
There are no rules here, but there are expectations.
We work on 4 principles, and that is to be respectful with each other, to be safe and legal, to participate, and I guess the right not to participate, and to be fair dinkum, to try and tell the truth. And then we negotiate that with all young people in meetings pretty well all the time.
Most of the students who come here have rebelled in mainstream schooling. Some have been expelled or suspended, others have just dropped out. Learning difficulties and behavioural problems are common. Principal Dale Murray says they're all catered for on an individual basis.
Nevertheless, I'm gonna bust your bubble. Fellas in the world ain't nothing but trouble.
Candice Timu Ananui enrolled in the centre education program after her mother caught her wagging school. She'd already been suspended once before.
I know heaps of people at mainstream just don't care because teachers don't really pay much attention to you because there's too many students in one school, so they just don't really pay attention to you.
But she says she's changed her ways and hasn't missed a single class since she started here 2.5 years ago.
I just like the people, the teachers, what you do and everything.
Is anyone having any trouble thinking about what to write for your 200 words for the last topic?
17-year-old Zach Farr is in grade 11. He's been at the centre for 3 years. That's the longest time he's ever stayed at one institution. He says he's attended between 30 and 40 schools since starting grade 1. That newfound stability is reflected in his schoolwork. No longer at the bottom of the class, Zach now gets top marks. While specialised learning programs have proved to be successful for students like Candice and Zach, they don't come cheap. This centre is the only one of its kind in Queensland. It's run by the Christian Brothers and funded by donations and Education Queensland.
Run right back to the stop.
The costs are quite significant, approximately $18,000 a student. And, grants, of course, don't meet that level of need. And the costs are brought about largely because of the diversity of staff and the small classes that demand very small pupil-teacher ratios.
Number 54 is cemetery.
Research suggests there are at least 10,000 students in Queensland missing out on an education, young people who've slipped through the safety net. But in all of Queensland, there are only 55 such courses supported by government. 75 students are enrolled here in Logan, but more than 100 are turned away each year. And while the Christian Brothers would like to set up more centres, that's dependent on funding.
They're not easily begun because they're so community-based. And because we're a church organisation, we rely very much on the support of local church communities.
I wrote some beats down before that I got off here.
But without them, students like these say they wouldn't be getting an education at all.
Probably just sitting at home doing nothing.
If I wasn't here, I'd probably be going to mainstream, not wanting to go to mainstream, so I'd probably wagging it with my mates or something, I don't know. The next time a guy gives you the play, just remember I rhyme and get the hell away.
So the centre is in Logan, a city south of Brisbane in Queensland. Let's hear about the ways the centre is different from a normal school.
A typical day starts with breakfast and a morning meeting with the principal.
A typical or normal day starts with breakfast. Most schools don't serve breakfast. Students have to eat their breakfast at home. But at this centre, they get to eat breakfast at school to make sure all the students start the day in a healthy way. Then they have a meeting with the principal. The principal is the head of a school. Usually, principals are busy with other things and don't meet with the students every day. They might meet with students once a week. So that's an unusual start to the day. How else is the centre different?
There are no rules here, but there are expectations.
There are no rules. Most schools have many rules. Here they don't have any, but they have expectations. The verb to expect means to think or believe something will happen. The noun form, expectation, means something that you think or believe will happen. So there are no rules, but the centre believes that the students will all behave in certain ways without needing rules. Listen for what the expectations are.
We work on 4 principles.
They work on 4 principles. To work on here means to use as a basis. The basis of the school is their 4 principles. We just looked at the word principal with an AL at the end. That means the chief or head of something. But here we have the word principal spelt with an LE. It's pronounced the same, principal, principle. A principle is a basic idea. It can also mean a standard of good behaviour. So there are 4 main ideas that the school is based on. Listen to what they are.
We work on 4 principles, and that is to be respectful with each other, to be safe and legal, to participate, and I guess the right not to participate, and to be fair dinkum, to try and tell the truth. And then we negotiate that with all young people in meetings pretty well all the time.
The principles are to be respectful to each other. To be respectful means to treat in a considerate way, to be polite and kind to each other. They have to be safe and legal. They can't break the law at school or do dangerous things. They have the right to participate and not participate. They can join in or not, depending on how they feel. They have to be fair dinkum and try to tell the truth. Fair dinkum is Australian slang. It means to be true or genuine. The students have to try to tell the truth and not lie. Listen to that again.
We work on 4 principles, and that is to be respectful with each other, to be safe and legal, to participate, and I guess the right not to participate, and to be fair dinkum, to try and tell the truth. And then we negotiate that with all young people in meetings pretty well all the time.
They negotiate those principles all the time in meetings. To negotiate means to discuss, so you can find a solution everyone agrees to. So all the students and teachers discuss the principles and the way the Learning Centre will run. And it seems that the students are doing very well there. And that's all for English Bites today. You'll find much more on our popular website, and you can join the Nexus Club while you're there.